Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
Bet Tate.
My handshake is better than anything I ever signed. It's right here.
You are a one-on-one?
My son's right.
I don't think I've ever said this before.
Okay, so it's episode 555 with the one and only Andrew Tate. We did it once. The first time I think was in Madrid. Second time was in Romania. Third time is in the States. He's in the flesh. He's here on the set. Andrew, it's great to have you on.
Bro, it's very good to see you.
Yes, it's good to see you.
It's been a while. What's it been, 2 years?
It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years since we did it last in Romania, which we came in right after your friendly meeting you had with BBC, which was fantastic. They treated you royally. You remember that whole setup?
I do remember, yeah. I'm not sure if anyone remembers that reporter, though. I think she's fallen into insignificance. It's kind of interesting how they sit me down and try and grill me when no one even cares who they are. So,
That's actually a very good question. Where is she? I don't even know what she does right now.
Well, she vanished. I guess the USAID money dried up, and she's vanished now. I mean, these people sit down. I was offended by her for various reasons. The first one being when I was in jail, they were begging me for an interview, promising to tell my side of the story and highlight how people in Romania can be locked up without charges. And she said that she was going to ask these very interesting and pertinent questions about the Romanian judicial system. Turns out she hijacked me, turns up to my house with all these stupid hit piece questions instantly to get me when I got out of jail. I had nightmares, could barely sleep. I sit down with this interview and was completely sidelined. And that was her intention, to get a gotcha moment. And then she sits down and talks to me like she has authority in my home. I don't even know who this person is, and nobody knows who she is. And now I don't know where she's gone. So
yeah, I don't either. But folks, here's what I will tell you. We got a lot of things to talk about. If you have seen part one or part two, you know we don't do 1 hour podcasts. We're going to talk for quite some time. Here's what I would tell you. I don't know what's going to happen with YouTube. Share the video with everybody. Text it to as many people as you know to make sure everybody gets the message. Tate said, push me, challenge me. Nothing's on the table. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things. But make sure you get this message to as many people as possible. Whether you're watching this on X or YouTube, let's make sure we do that. Okay, so opening question. Everybody's doing their thing. Nobody's paying attention to what's going on. And then all of a sudden, Andrew and Tristan Tate are on a flight on their way to Florida. They haven't tweeted anything for 24 hours. You guys concern people when you stop tweeting things, right? And then all of a sudden, tweet X, whatever you want to call it, there's no message going out. I don't know if you can say Xing, right? They were tweeting. So then all of a sudden, the news is you land in Florida. Everybody sees the video. When that happens, the great governor of Florida, which is one of the reasons why we moved here, he does a great job running the state. He was asked about you. This is what he had to say. Rob, if you can play the clip.
We have no involvement in that. I read about it through the media. Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction, whether they want to rebuff his entry into the United States, and I have confidence that whether it's Pam Bondi or Kristi Noem, that they will be looking at that. I do know our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is looking at what state hooks and jurisdiction we may have to be able to deal with this. But the reality is no, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. And I don't know how it came to this. We were not involved. We were not notified. I found out through the media that this was something that was happening. Okay, guys.
So he says you're not welcome. Now, President Trump was asked the same question. This was his reaction, and I'm just going to turn it over to you after this.
The federal government has jurisdiction.
Can you turn off the other one, Rob? Just close it up. Yeah, there you go. Go for it.
Tate landed in Florida today on a private jet after being released from custody in Romania. They are accused rapists, human traffickers, not thought of as good people in many circles. Did your administration pressure the Romanian government to release them, and if so, why?
I know nothing about that. I don't know. You're saying he's on a plane right now?
He's back. They already did.
Yeah, I just know nothing about it. We'll check it out. We'll let you know.
Andrew and
So you got the governor says Florida is not a place or welcome.
Trump is such a boss. His answers, he is such a gangster. Don't know. I don't know anything about it. I don't know. That's the correct answer to most things. This is some life advice to everybody at home. 99% of the time, if you're asked a question as a man, the correct answer is I don't know. I don't know. So I like Trump's answer. As for Ron, I'm a little bit disappointed, I'll be honest. I've never said anything bad about him. I didn't know much about him. I was a fan of his. I heard that Florida was a great state. I know he did well under COVID. I knew nothing about the guy. But it turns out when he was pressured, he instantly caved to the pressure. And we have to have a long conversation about why the liberals and why Soros and why these wrap-up smears, why they use the media to do what they do. Because what they try and do is isolate somebody. So they're afraid to be, so people are afraid to represent them or stand by them or stick up for due process. I don't know why Ron's answer wasn't, he has an American passport. The judicial system in Romania, which I know absolutely nothing about, decided to let him fly. And he's flown to his home country. As far as we're concerned, he's broken no laws. Instead, what he did was say, we're going to get our attorney general to try and find some laws he's broken and wreck this man who's done nothing inside of the United States ever. Isn't the whole point of democracy innocent until proven guilty? I've yet to even have a trial, let alone a conviction. I've never even been tried. After 3 years, I've never been to trial. All those times I'm walking in and out of court, I've never had a trial. And communism, as we've understood it and tried very hard to fight against for so long, the basic premise is that you find the man and then find the crime. Is that not exactly what Ron DeSantis just promised to all of his constituents? It's not, we've seen a crime, let's find the perpetrator. It's, we found a man, let's see if we can find a crime to pin on this man. Is that the American way? Is that democracy? Is that innocent until proven guilty? Now, I'm not afraid of it because I know I've done nothing wrong. But it's quite unusual and quite scary for me to land as an American citizen, expecting a hero's welcome after dealing with a foreign and complicated judicial process, and being told that now the American state is going to be set on me, trying its very best to lock me up here when I've done nothing wrong ever. This is communism in and of itself. I may as well fly back to Romania. This is incredible that I landed and the governor of Florida is like, don't worry, I told my attorney general to try and find things this man's done. Where did that even come from? So I'm very, very disappointed in Ron. I think he did it because he caved under media pressure. And if he, there's no problem. If he wants training, wrong. There's a reason you lost the presidential election. There's a reason you got wrecked. If your answer was, we have no information of crimes he's committed inside the United States, his arrival, but it's not really our concern. He's an American citizen returning to his home country. If he breaks the law within Florida, he will be held accountable as well as any other person would be. And until that point, that's it. But instead, he just completely caved and folded. You know what's really interesting? The liberals, Soros, all these NGOs, the media, they understand something intrinsically that conservatives do not understand. In the conservative world, an accusation is the same as a conviction, which is why liberals are so effective. The liberals will accuse a conservative of something. They'll wrap-up smear them. Hello, Ron. Nancy Pelosi explained the wrap-up smear. She explained it herself. You can find the clip of her explaining. You get the media to repeat something so many times that that person's name becomes toxic. And then what that person says isn't significant anymore because of the accusations attributed to their name. Nancy Pelosi described how they do this to people.
Is this a clip?
Let's play it.
Go for it, Brown.
Hospitals and the rest of it. So they don't want them to see that contrast, so they focus on something else. And it's a diversionary tactic. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody
about it openly
with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident. But
Earth to Ron! Earth to Ron! Like, this is what they do. They demonize you in the media to the point where nobody will stand by you and your ideas are ignored because of what you're accused of. This is exactly what they did to me. Ron fell for it. Instead of standing there and saying, we have no evidence of crimes, he has an American passport, it's innocent until proven guilty, I don't understand the Romanian system, what he did was collapse instantly and completely. And liberals know this. If you accuse a conservative of something on the other side, the conservatives cannibalize. An accusation is as bad as a conviction in the conservative circles. If you accuse a liberal of something, do you think the liberals care? Let me change it. if a liberal is convicted, if a liberal held a gun to a pregnant woman, if a liberal is a career criminal, they don't care. But our side, if you're accused of something, you're instantly cannibalized. Talk about the weakness in the conservative circle. We wonder why we've been getting our asses kicked by people who don't know what gender they are for years. Because all they have to do is point and lie. Put it in the news enough times, and they will take out our strongest soldiers. I was one of the strongest soldiers advocating for conservatism and helping men, especially young men, find their masculinity once again. So they just attacked me, and now who's against me? Liberals, yeah, and a whole bunch of conservatives are upset with me. Oh, but the media said. The media said, have you not been through COVID? Do you not remember what the media said about Trump? Hello, Nancy Pelosi just told you what they do, Ron. And he sat there and completely collapsed. I'm not offended, personally, and I'm not afraid of his AG, because I've done nothing wrong. And if you want to put me in jail in America, I'm not afraid of that either, because I've just accepted my fate. I'm public enemy number one. However, I actually truly see this. And Ron, this is not an insult. That was a competency test you failed. You failed a competency test as a leader. Trump didn't. They asked Trump questions, and he answered like a gangster. He answered like a man should answer. I don't know. Because he doesn't know. He doesn't know the details of the Romanian system. He's not read my bullshit indictment. He's never spoken to me. He doesn't know. That's a correct professional answer.
You guys have never spoken.
I've never spoken to Donald Trump.
So stories. One of them was, sorry for your loss of your grandmother. Yep. I heard the news. And, where one part of the story is that they allowed you to come here for the loss of your family, that you're here. Another one is you're visiting because now you can. But which one is it? What's the reason why you're in this
I'll tell you why.
Please.
I'll tell you why. But I'm going to finish that point. When you do not know something, the most masculine thing you can say is, I don't know. Trump's like, I don't know. I don't know the details. I don't know. I'll look into it. Instead, Ron knew nothing and collapsed. So Ron failed a basic competency test. That's what I believe. I don't care what he said. I'm not scared of his AG. He failed a competency test. That's his problem and his burden. So that's my view on Ron.
But one thing I want to qualify this. You just made a commitment to helping him out with marketing if he says yes.
If he pays me.
You're open to it.
Look,
consulting.
Okay.
Look, I like money. If he'll pay me, I'll teach him how to deal with the media, because clearly he failed.
But all I'm saying is, if you commit to it, they may get a call for 2028. Just be ready for that. But
absolutely.
Yeah. So
if he can afford me, I'm very famous and I'm very important. So if he can afford me, if Ron can afford me, I'll help him out and I'll let him know the reason he failed. Because especially, and this is extremely important, and I don't think people actually understand how much subconscious judging that they go through all of the time. When you walk into a room, you're subconsciously judged all of the time.
Right.
And small little failures like that, even the people who hate me, even the people who dislike me and are happy he said something negative against me, if you're going to collapse in the face of the ABC or NBC and people who do nothing but lie and start splouting garbage which you know nothing about, how are you going to stand in front of Putin? How are you going to stand in front of Xi? Like, you failed a competency test. I don't believe he's fit to run a country anymore. Thank God he's not president. That's what I think after I saw that. I'm not scared of what he said. I just talk about why I was allowed back in America. Well, the first thing is I have a passport. So that's the first reason. Secondly, it's kind of amazing that I'm seen as the number one fugitive. I have no criminal record anywhere on the planet. I have no criminal record in the UK. I have no criminal record in Romania. I've never been convicted. I've never been convicted of anything in America. I have no criminal record ever. If you go down to the mall in Miami and walk around, you're going to walk past 30% of people with convictions. You're going to walk around amongst criminals. I've never been convicted of anything ever. So it's amazing that I'm fugitive number one. That's the second point that's interesting. The third point, and this is what's kind of funny when they tie Trump into me being free. My case was dismissed in December under President Joe Biden. The judge ruled that there wasn't enough evidence for it to go to trial in December under Joe Biden. Then the standard operating procedure in Romania and every other sophisticated judicial system is there's no indictment in the court. It was rejected by the court to go to trial due to lack of evidence, or in fact, in our case, it wasn't even lack of evidence. It was falsified evidence. It was illegal evidence, which we can talk about. It was rejected, but for some reason our bail conditions were kept. And they were kept saying the prosecutor believes he might rewrite it and try again. Is this a judicial system? 2 years you keep me trapped in a country, you send an indictment to court, the court rejects it, and they keep you on bail so the prosecutor can spend another 2 years typing up garbage? Is this a judicial system? I ask all the Americans who are watching this, how much blood do you expect me to give to a foreign country's judicial system? I gave them 3 years of my life, my reputation, missed my grandmother's funeral, didn't see 2 of my children, lost my money, lost my house, lost my cars, sat there, went to court on time, every single time, and it got rejected by the court. And now I'm kept on bail, and eventually they release it and let me fly. Am I supposed to do what? How long am I supposed to sit there while this country decides to try and find charges on me? Have I not done enough? Have I not given enough to Romania? My bail conditions are that I have to return on the 23rd of March. And I'm going to make it very clear right now to everybody listening. I am going back. I'm going to fly back and obey my bail conditions. I'm not running from anything because I'm not a coward. But I find it completely flabbergasting that people are sitting there going, oh, Andrew, why did he leave Romania if he's innocent? I've been there 3 years dealing with this garbage and I never went anywhere. Let's actually analyze this. Imagine in an American court they said to you, yeah, you're innocent. Yeah, there's not enough for trial, but you're still on bail. You still can't fly. You still can't go anywhere. We've sent it back to the prosecutor and told them to try again. How long will that take? As long as they want. Is that justice? I ask anybody, is that justice? Is that expected of me? It's absolutely insane. And all the people who are complaining about the fact I'm here have never been to Romania, don't know the Romanian system, don't know the Romanian judicial process. I've been through it for 3 years. I barely understand it. These people are sitting around talking about things when they don't even understand. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. Another question, which is quite pertinent, I want to ask. I've seen a lot of idiots say, Andrew escaped Romania because it was corrupt. If it's corrupt when I get to leave, isn't it corrupt when they lock me up? Or no, it's not corrupt and they stick to the rules when they lock me up and destroy my life. But after 3 years without charges, when I'm allowed to leave, it's corruption. Think about the dichotomy of that. It's either one or the other. So people are just picking and choosing and doing anything they can because they don't like me. This has nothing to do with due process. These people don't respect due process like me. Patrick, I have a feeling if I was fat and ugly, none of this would be happening in terms of the hate that I'm getting from the conservative type. But you know when you're like tall, brown, sexy, and rich? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nice Tate. Yeah. Mine's got diamonds. When you're tall, brown, sexy, and rich, they just don't like you. Any conservative should be sitting here going, I don't agree with Tate, but due process, and he's not been charged. He's not guilty, so he's flying. It's normal. But they hate me so intrinsically. They hate me on a visceral level where they're saying, forget due process, forget the legality, forget the fact that the Romanian judicial system shouldn't be trusted, forget the fact he's given him 3 years of his life, forget all that. He's bad. Crazy.
By the way, when you say dismissed, Rob just pulled this up. As of March 3rd, the charges against Andrew Tate have not been dismissed. In December 2024, a Romanian court identified procedural errors in the case leading to a dismissal. However, investigations into allegations of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized crime group are ongoing.
Correct.
Is it still that? Is
correct.
that still
correct?
going?
So let me clarify. Correct. Absolutely. December 2024, my case was dismissed. The Romanian court identified procedural errors in the case leading to a dismissal. That sounds like, procedural errors, no big deal. What if procedural errors are false translations? What if procedural errors are illegal wiretaps? What if procedural errors are not respecting my client attorney privilege? What if they spied on me when I was talking to my lawyer? What if they broke every single law in the Romanian constitution, which is what they did? Then they returned it to the prosecutor and said, do it all again. So here it says, it's still ongoing. Yeah, it was dismissed because the whole case is garbage, just as I described. They sent it back to the prosecutor and said, we'll keep him locked up. We'll keep him here. Here's 2 more years. Try again. Is that justice? I'm asking a genuine question. Maybe I'm jaded. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm living in the middle of it. As professional men, do you see that as justice? I beat my case. They lied and cheated the whole way through. They sent it back. And then they get to say, it's still ongoing because the case is open because we're going to do it again. Is that allowed?
So Romania is expecting you to be back by March 23rd.
Correct.
That's because of this.
No.
And did they allow you to leave purely for, what's the reason why they allow you to come to the States?
They allowed me to come to the States because in December, my case was dismissed. In 99.9% of Romanian cases, that means the end of bail conditions.
Okay.
With me, they kept the bail conditions. They kept them for December. They kept them for January. They tried to keep them for February. And my lawyers made submissions to court, and we went in front of a judge, and we complained that this is unfair. And a judge said, okay, let him fly as long as he comes back once a month. And I said, I will respect the Romanian judicial system because I'm not running from anything, and I'm going to go back. Guys, anyone who's concerned about me running doesn't understand me. We got a direct order from the commander-in-chief. It was 3 words long. And it was fight, fight, fight. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going back to Romania. They may arrest me. Maybe put me back in jail. I don't know what they're going to do. but I'm going to go back. I'm not running from any of this. I've never run from any of this. My bail conditions were lifted. I've been in Romania for a very long time. I felt like a holiday. I thought Ron was a good governor. I chose Florida. Turns out it's communist like the rest, but I'm here for a while. There's no huge conspiracy. There's no Trump pressure. There's none of these things. 3 years I gave the Romanian government. 3 years. And eventually they said, okay, you can go to your home country. They should have let me come here a long time ago. I should have been able to come here the whole time. The whole process, I should have been able to come here. I've never been convicted. Why wasn't I free to travel the whole last 3 years? That's the actual question Ron should be asking. Ron should stand up there, or anyone with a brain should stand up and say, okay, well, he's never been convicted, and the case keeps getting thrown out due to lack of evidence or falsified evidence and illegal evidence. Why couldn't he travel all this time? Why was he even stuck in Romania? Why did they even take my cars? Let's be professionals and ask pertinent questions here. Why did they steal my money? Why did they put me in jail? Why did they take all my cars? Why did they take my house? Why did they stop me seeing 2 of my children? Why couldn't I see my mother when she had a heart attack? Why couldn't I go to my grandmother's funeral? Why was my image slandered? Why was I locked in my house for a year and a half and I couldn't even leave the living room? Why was I there if there was not even enough evidence to ever go to trial ever? Isn't that a better question than why am I in America? To me, it seems to be. See, that's the question I would ask. Why have I even gone through any of this? We can go deep down the rabbit hole, but I have to be careful what I say because on the 23rd, I have to report to the Romanians. But I'll tell you this, Soros and the European Union, which has become communist, have massive influence over there. And you have a huge power struggle between the American state and the Soros state. And there's 2 teams, and one of the teams wants me in jail for life. That's why I was dealing with all this.
So, but was there any help from Trump's camp to help you get here? Was there any influence there?
I have no idea.
Okay, so you don't know. Okay.
I mean, I would like to think from a positive perspective, I'd like to be optimistic and believe that Donald Trump saw this garbage and maybe asked some questions. I like that idea, but I don't know. I had no confirmation. Right. I have no idea. I don't know why. However, as a professional, which I am, I would argue if Kamala won, I'd be in jail. Mm-hmm. But so would Trump. And so would everyone else. No so would you.
There's no question.
So would you, and so would you. Yeah. So Trump won, and perhaps the Romanians said, oh, the boss is back. We can't do this anymore. That's possible. Did Trump fly to Romania with an AK? I doubt it. But things change. There's a new administration. All the Americans are being released. Why is no one complaining about the Americans that got released from Venezuela? No one's complaining about the Americans that got released from Russia. Americans are being released all around the world because we finally have a real president again. And I seem to be one of them. The Romanian state thought and said, the boss is back. We probably can't continue to fuck with this guy for no reason. We don't even have a case. As it stands right now, guess how many indictments are in court against me? 0. Not one. Not one.
Well, let me ask this one here. With this situation here, that you're in the States, can UK, because UK and US have an extradition, they have a law that I think came about, Rob, if you can pull it up, I think it's 03. Can UK say now he's in US's relationship with each other do anything to you? Is that a risk of yours? Is that a concern of yours or not at all?
I'm tall, brown, rich, and sexy. So I have a strong suspicion that's one of the reasons the UK hates me so much. Because the UK is now a fallen nation. It's a completely communist country. You can't speak out. Isn't it interesting that not too long ago, America and killing people for the idea of democracy and freedom. And now our allies, like the United Kingdom, will lock people up for tweets. Or even worse, Trump and Vance will put Zelensky in his place, which needed to be done. And then our allies will invite him over the next day and hug him and shake hands and promise him money.
How do you feel about that?
Well, what I feel like is that they're not even our allies anymore. That's snakery. You insult, if my brother puts you in your place and I come up behind his back and offer you money, am I my brother's brother? Is that how it works?
No. Nope.
So now we're talking about the UK government. We can go long and deep into the state of the United Kingdom because every single person I know with money is leaving. Why does the UK want to lock me up? Because I'm seen as a symbol of resistance against their communism. That's why they hate me. They hate me because I teach young men to think for themselves. That's why they hate me. Because the UK's fallen due to a lack of masculinity, which is what I promote. That's why they hate me. Are they going to try and get me? Probably. If I go to UK, will I ever get out? Probably not. Am I afraid of them? No. Because I don't operate from a realm of fear. We had a 3-word instruction from the commander-in-chief. So if I have to go to the UK and fight them, I'm going to do that too. Until then, I'm on the PBD podcast. I don't know what they're going to try and do. All I know is I don't trust them. And I don't think any American who understands how the world's currently operating trusts the UK government with anything. Do you? Would you trust yourself to have a fair trial in a British court?
In UK?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. So
Zero.
it's a setup.
No.
It's an absolute setup. Why did the UK even come for me? Once again, I have to be careful what I say because on the 23rd of March, I'm going to be walking into the jaws of a tiger. But I can